All right. Hey, 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 how y'all doing today? You are now tuned in to another amazing episode of Lampvicious. I am Ambitious Brown.
And I'm Patrick Doc Francis.
I'm Lloyd Lindley Jr.
We are the Lampvicious crew. So, how has y'all's week been? I know we haven't really talked since last Tuesday. So, is anything new going on with the Lamp crew?
Ooh, yeah. Oh man. Okay, so it's a lot that we have in works, and it's a lot that's been going on. So of course we have the upcoming event further out in October, which is the actual pole party.
Mm.
And in the meanwhile, Lloyd may want to touch on a couple of things we're doing in regards to like some back to school events and different things like that.
Okay. What y'all back to school? Oh, I can't believe school is
Definitely.
back to school. Oof.
I know. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. But yes, we definitely are looking into collaborating on some back to school events. Whether it's we still, I mean, everything is in the air right now. But whether it's going to be like a backpack drive, book drive. We're still trying to see if everybody's going to have tablets. So right now we're just getting the feel, getting all the information. Because I mean, if it's going to be virtual learning, we want to make sure every kid, no kid is left behind due to their circumstance.
Very
Yeah,
true. That's awesome.
with COVID going on, a lot of things we have to adapt and do things differently. So we're still maneuvering through COVID just like everybody else is.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of school age students, they need laptops and things that they can do their homework on and those kind of resources. So I might see how I can help out. I want to do some back to school stuff. I've been thinking about it, and I don't know. I'm gonna see what I can figure out, and if I any way I can help, always down to help. So for sure.
Oh, definitely.
What about you?
I have been so right now we are actually in the preliminaries. So next month, September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. So we are doing a month-long Darling Dash race where it's a virtual run, so you can work out, do a 5K anywhere you are, and we're gonna have a platform where you can post your results and share with your friends and things of that nature. So we are getting ready for Sickle Cell Awareness Month. As far as Realo 87 goes, I am in design mode right now. I'm not about to do anything, but I'm in the process of getting some things together so that I can launch some new stuff. So I'm in creative and design mode. But today I'm rocking my original t-shirt. You got to be yourself at all times.
Yeah, I love those colors.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I felt, a little boom, pow to you, to the wardrobe, black
Right.
with colors. So that's really all I've been doing and all I've been up to. Really just a whole lot of brainstorming, planning, and getting other things ready for sickle cell awareness and all that fun stuff. So you know how it go.
Yeah, and like you said with the awareness, keeping up with the theme, with mental health awareness, right? So now
Right.
Yeah.
that we transition, was it July? Now we're in August all of a sudden. Like this year is just flying by like crazy.
Yes. It
And
seems like January, February, and March were drug out, and then it was like April, May, June, July, August. Here we
mhm,
are.
Right.
yeah, so we fell into a mental health awareness month and mental health awareness for minorities also, right? So we got
Yes,
another great show coming up tonight.
I'm excited.
So who do we have coming up to talk about our mental health
So
awareness?
today it's our pleasure actually to welcome Dr. Chelsea McCann to our show. How you doing, Miss Chelsea?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you all?
Awesome. We are very happy to have you to bring some insight to this amazing cause, which is mental health, mental illness, and all of those fun, great things. So, Chelsea, you have a doctorate of clinical psychology with your major area of study on children and adolescents. What made you want to go into that field?
Yeah, so I'm a personal have my own history of going through stuff as a teenager, as a child, going through some turbulent, family difficulties and things of that nature. And so I really am a big proponent of giving back in that nature and kind of trying to be the person that I wish I had as a teenager that really drove me into psychology and really trying to just really work with children and adolescents because they're so malleable at that stage, and it's really at a place for them to really change their path and to really kind of work through their mental health and their stuff that they're going through. That's natural as a child and teenager to go through the ups and downs of life, but also when you have some other stuff going on in your life. So I'm a very that really drove me into psychology, is to really just give back and try and work with children and adolescents before they maybe get to be a little older, where they have kind of the oh crap moment, I need some help. And I really enjoy adolescence because you can be very real with adolescents, you can be very genuine with adolescents, and they give it right back, and so it works well with my personality. So that really drove me to the field.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, that I mean, this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. I'm glad you said that you deal with children, because a lot of us, especially in our community, when it comes to mental health, we kind of sweep it under the rug. We kind of, you're fine, you'll be okay. And I personally went through, needing help, because the way I look at it, you go to the doctor for, when you need any kind of treatment for physical fitness or whatever like that. So I was interested in seeing today, is I saw this where it states that Black Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious mental health issues than the general population. And that kind of stood out. So that's like 1 out of every 5, Black Americans would be, susceptible to mental health issues. So if you could kind of elaborate about that.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's such a layered issue. I think as all humans, right, we're all natural susceptible to things of struggling with life's challenges, right? But in terms of being a minority and in terms of being a Black person, especially in the United States, that comes with different challenges, right? Our country has a long history of being oppressive and not accepting individuals of color, and being harmful and discriminatory and racist, and that exacerbates natural occurrences that happen in life, whether it's being stood up at the prom, losing a parent, enduring abuse or community violence or gun violence. And that's exacerbated then by living in a country that is discriminatory against you and feeling as though you don't have a place to share your genuine experience or feel like you have a space in this world because society has told you that you don't matter, that your voice does not matter. And so that completely exacerbates natural things that happen in life. And then you have different systems that are really perpetuate those types of things that you go through, where you have a boss or a community that doesn't either want to hear your opinion, doesn't value your opinion, and that again exacerbates not feeling as though you can share what's going on in your life. And so I really think that's a huge big proponent of how Black Americans experience more mental health, because we go through different life experiences where, I can go into a store and be questioned by someone of, oh, what are you looking for? Can I afford to go into this store? All that different type of stuff, where I may have a friend who is a white friend who doesn't have that experience that I do. And I think the different life experiences that Black Americans go through in this country really exacerbates natural mental health problems that occur throughout anyone's life.
Man, you hit the nail on the head, because I hear stories that my parents share with me. My parents tell me things that happened to them back in the 60s, even the 50s. And then they also share the stories that their parents and grandparents told them. So like my great grandparents' stories. And a lot of these things, like you said, these experiences that they had were very, it was pretty devastating when you think about some of the stuff that they went through. And it's looked upon as all of a sudden it's kind of normal. It's kind of normalized to actually go through a lot of the things that they went through. And then I see certain things happen today in society, and I hear people say, man, someone created a violent act in the mall, and let's look at these children and they're going through PTSD. We need to talk to them about mental health awareness. But none of this was being done way back in the day. And now people like you are helping younger kids, start out with how to right there, how to control anxiety and things like that. So can you talk a little bit about, what to do? How do you control anxiety, and what to do if a loved one or a family member, friend is depressed?
Yeah, control anxiety. I didn't want to chuckle because I think that that's something that's so hard to do.
Right.
You know, but I think in terms of how do you kind of manage your own responses to situations, and I think that that's a really big thing, right? And I always try and share that with other people is like you can't control other people. You can't control other people's reactions. You can't control certain situations around you. You can only control how you respond in any given moment.
Hmm.
And so, really kind of trying to find a sense of agency within yourself, and recognizing things that are outside of your control, but really focusing on what's in your control. What can I do in this moment to try and calm myself down? Do I need to take 5 minutes? If I can't focus on 5 minutes, okay, can I take 1 minute? If I can't take 1 minute, I need to take 1 second. Just really breaking it down to the little things that are really important in terms of anxiety. And really, obviously, the tried and true of like muscle relaxation, deep breathing, kind of like that belly breathing, not just from your chest, but really breathing from your diaphragm, because that impacts your whole system, not just not just regular breathing. There's different types of breathing, and that could be a whole different conversation. And then, of course, there's like muscle relaxation techniques and things of that nature. But I would say a big proponent of like quote unquote controlling anxiety is really controlling how you respond to situations and really focusing on how you personally can respond, because there's always going to be things outside of your control, whether that's politics, whether that's a work situation. And if it's debilitating to you, if it's overwhelming to you, then really trying to take a step back and really focusing on, okay, what can I do in this moment? Whether that's take a deep breath, whether that's go take a walk, whether that's sign a petition, whatever it is that will make you feel better in that moment to kind of help that feeling of overwhelmness and anxiety, if that makes sense.
It definitely does. I know for myself, I have anxiety. I know traffic, 5 o'clock traffic. It bothers me to the point where I'm agitated. I'm ready to do something. Breathing really helps. Sometimes I literally have to stop, calm myself down because I'm ready to jump into the next car. I know that I can't. So, like you say, you have to be able to control the things and how you react. And I know that being aware of my triggers help a lot also, being conscious of, okay, this is making me act like this, so let me take a step back, reflect, and start over and calm down and breathe and move forward. So I
But I'm
like
also
that.
a big proponent of letting it out sometimes, because I'll say I cuss people out in the cars and I can't hold it in because I know if I hold it in, then that's going to cause me too much like problems in my chest. So I'm going to curse you out in my car because I need to let it go. Like,
Let it
so
out.
take a deep breath or yell, whatever works for you in that moment, as long as it's legal, as long as
Yes.
it's legal.
In certain
Right.
states, right? Legal in certain states, right?
Exactly.
And that's funny. It's funny, but it's true because and Lloyd can attest to this. Like, just relieving stress. We used to just hit the gym up. We used to go. You get away. Like a lot of you hear NBA players talking about. It's a way to get away from the reality. Like you go play basketball and you're in a. You able to get away and now during the pandemic, things like that aren't accessible anymore. So, uh, like, what advice would you give? Is just trying to figure out how to um, release some of this stress and tension that you have, so you don't release it on someone else in a negative way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say definitely during these times, kind of getting back to the basics is really important because you are so limited, whether it's in your apartment, your house, your community, and not really able to go out and socialize as you normally would, especially if you're an extrovert and you get your self-esteem, you get your release from vibing with people, with going out with friends, and that's really not a possibility at the moment. And so really, the basics of eating right, getting sleep, checking in on your people, whether it's your family or your friends, finding things that you can find joy of, whether that's lighting a candle and just sitting there, taking a bath, reading a book, watching trash TV, whatever that may be, but like really trying to get back to the basics of taking care of your body, and then not also shaming yourself at the same time if you aren't as productive, or if you're really struggling and you're like, all these other people are doing startup companies or making $1 billion during these times. Like, really being kind to yourself, and really just trying to do the basics of eating well, sleeping well. And people always preach that, but it really is so important, and it really does impact your whole day. If you're have disrupted sleep, or if you don't have breakfast or something in the morning, and just really kind of reminding yourself of the basics during these times is really, really important.
Okay, that's good. We have a question from one of our viewers, Jean Williams. She's asking, what would you recommend for managing a child's emotional triggers?
And I would say broadly, I would say if this is a parent or a caregiver or a family member, whatever it may be, being aware of what those triggers are and really validating that child's experience, and really kind of providing that holding environment of letting them know that they're safe, letting them know that what they're going through is okay. And in the moment, the really big thing that I'm a big proponent of are, your feeling is final. Your feelings transition, whether you think they're going to last forever, and really trying to almost not explain that to a kid, but being able to hold that. So I would say, in terms of kind of responding to a child's trigger, is really being there and being genuine with that in the moment, because that's what they're going to remember. So not being as significantly reactive and trying to stop it, but really supporting them in that moment. Unless they're like lashing out and they're trying to hurt themselves or hurt someone else, then yes, obviously you're going to change your response. But really providing that holding environment, and really sharing with that kid that they're safe, and kind of assisting them in that moment, whatever the trigger may be. I know it's kind of a broad question, like how to respond to triggers. So if it was a more specific question, then I maybe could answer a little more specifically. But really, just being there and supportive in that moment with that child is the most important. Doc, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry. I was saying I hear the word aware a lot. So it's like being aware and on top of that being supportive. And it's like those triggers that people mention. How do you really know, are you going through depression or the beginning stage of depression, or is this just you feeling bad and having a bad day? Like how can you really distinguish the difference between the two?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question, and a common question. I would say during these times, especially with COVID, I would say it's almost typical to be pretty depressed and kind of feel down and not feel as energetic, or not feeling as much joy as you typically would in the things you typically find joy in. I would say when it's a more chronic, consistent issue, then that's way it may lead more to depression, may lead more toward a more longer term issue, where if you have a bad couple of days, and that's completely fair to feel down, to feel a little depressed. But if it persists over time, I would say, and if it persists in terms of trying the typical things that you typically do to feel better, and they may not be working, that I would say that differentiates between a bad day to a little more of maybe a deeper issue.
And whenever you say that, can you look at someone and tell that person is depressed? Is there a way that you can identify it by looking at someone?
Um, Looking at someone, I would say not, like just like eyes on someone. I would say not exactly. I would say more so just kind of having a conversation with someone, and just being like, if there's just like this general undertone of, hopelessness, of just feeling very critical, of not finding anything right in the world at the moment, then I would say like that's more of like a where, okay, like you might be feeling a little depressed, rather than just a bad day, where they can externalize it and be like, my boss really upset me today, I need a day, or whatever it may be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So it's like it's not just a, oh, I'll get over this, but it's like a constant
Yeah.
down, down. Okay, yeah. Because I mean, because we have friends who go through things, and I always say check on your strong friends. But what if
Mhm.
that person's not displaying externally that they're going through something, but inside they are? And just how, as a friend, can you be aware and be that support, so that, because suicide is real. So I'm just thinking of things of that nature.
You know what I'm busy? Oh, go ahead.
Very, oh, sorry. I would say it's very common with depression to not show overtly, especially in males. I would say depression in males more so can come out in like irritability, and kind of feeling a little just like snappy with people, more so because males have been socialized. It's not appropriate to show sadness. It's not appropriate to show depression because that makes you weak. That makes you whatever derogatory terminology you want to use. And so boys and men show their depression and anger, and it's not addressing the underlying issue that you're depressed. You're not just angry. And I would say that's one of the things that I was thinking of when you were speaking, of more so it manifests differently in different sexes, right? Women can manifest depression differently than males. I would say males, it takes a little bit more to get at it, just because the way society has socialized males, that it's not appropriate to show emotion, quote unquote. It's not, they don't feel safe enough to show their genuine emotions.
Yeah, that's a good point. And part of what our mission, for instance, with LAMP is to make it okay for young black men to express themselves and to feel a certain way and make it okay and not seem like, oh, well, you're being weak for expressing your feelings. That's actually something that's needed, and you need to do that in order to be well for yourself. And that's just showing yourself self-care and self-love. And it's interesting because, like Ambitious said, a lot of people that are your strong friends, they're the ones that people lean on, and they talk about, bring their stories and issues to them. So what their strong friends are doing is taking in all of this negative energy that they're hearing, and they're the ones that's trying to resolve the problems a lot of times, and that can be very draining. So a lot of times that in turn, they need someone they can release to. And are you the person that they would go to if they don't have a friend to go to?
Obviously I'm a psychologist, so I'm a big proponent of everyone needs therapy. But I would say, yeah, I have a lot of, strong friends, even therapists, right? Therapists need therapists. Like,
Mm-hmm.
need that extra person yourself to really provide that space for you, because you provide it for everyone else. And I would say even what we spoke on a little bit before of, like, a lot of things are like brushed off, or services weren't provided for a long time. And it made me think of Jay Urbo's PTSD song with Chance and Juice WRLD and stuff. And he talked about that line of like praying it away, like, oh mama, I just prayed that away, instead of going to get therapy, which I think your relationship with God and your spirituality and your religion is so important, but also it's not the exact same as there's different pros and cons to both. And so I would say, especially in the Black community, I think there needs to be a larger discussion on not only going to church as your sense of safety and your sense of strength, but also seeking mental health providers as well, and doing conjoined work together with the church and with the mental health community. That's what I would love to see, is to
Mm-hmm.
see a combination of that in the community, is to see a connection between the church and mental health.
That's interesting.
It made whatever everything that was just spoken of, it made me think of the incarcerated community. You go to jail, you get out, there's not really much resources to help with the trauma that you dealt with while you were inside, and transitioning from being away so from society and integrating back in. I really wish there were way more resources, because you go downtown Houston and you see so many homeless, but it's young Black men, and it's disheartening. It's like, what kind of resources can we create, or what kind of resources are available to specifically for that community? Because there are a lot of our friends go to jail, come back, it happens, it's life. But how do we get them back into society to where they have functioning citizens?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I work in maximum security prison. I've worked in juvenile justice, so I'm a very big proponent of working with justice involved individuals, and that is an extreme need in the community, where there is this lack of like this gap between when you're detained versus when you go in the back in the community, and this gap between reentry services. In the prison I used to work at, like, you're released with $10 and that's it, and you're expected to make it a bus ticket back to downtown Chicago, and you're expected to somehow become a productive, quote unquote, member of society without any services, in place. And so I would say there needs to be a lot of connection, working with an individual toward the end of their sentence, whether it's when they're still detained, and really building up those resources before they are released, and then having providers ready and willing to also work with these individuals. There's a lot of stigma for people who come out with whatever their charge may be, whether it's a sexual offense, a violent offense, a drug offense, whatever it may be. But I think there needs to be a larger conversation around that, of providers being willing to work with people with criminal histories as well. So there's so much need. So that's just a lot.
Yeah.
But I would say,
would you,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, so I was just gonna say, so would you say that transitioning either from jail, or even a lot of our military, they come back young, they're coming back from PTSD, transition and back into society, it's difficult, and I'm sure war takes a toll, on your mental state of, your state of health. And so I think transitioning from something, and then I really think after this, well, hopefully post pandemic, it's going to be a lot of people needing therapy. A lot
Oh,
of people.
sure.
It's going
There's
to,
already been an extreme uptake since COVID happened of anxiety related stuff, a lot of anxiety related stuff, as well as depression since COVID happened. But I would say that there is, especially with veterans and people coming back from the military, there the wait list to get in to see someone to the VA is about 6 months.
Ooh.
Now, I think the statistic, if I remember it correctly, a veteran kills themselves every 24 minutes, if I'm remembering correctly. And so it's alarming and very just tragic that we have individuals who serve this country and see, awful things and go through awful things, but we're not taking care of them when they come back. And that is an extreme need, that we need more providers in terms of whether it's social workers, psychologists, any different level, but it just needs to be more. There's a lot of gaps in terms of services, as well as in different communities. Obviously, a lot of my experiences in Chicago, and there's like deserts of mental health services. We're not for miles in neighborhoods that children and families cannot get services, and they can't afford to travel to go to the office, and things like that. So there just needs to be more connection to try to meet the high risk populations, the veterans, the high community violence neighborhoods, individuals in low SES. There's not a lot of providers that go into those communities and work with them and are willing to meet these families with the multitude of difficulties that they're facing. Because it's not just, I'm depressed, I need to talk. No, it's, I can't afford to put dinner on the table. My son is in jail. I have 3 jobs. I'm gonna miss appointments, and then office will be like, showed 3 times. I can't see you anymore. And so there's so many different issues in terms of trying to really connect with the populations that need mental health services the most.
Yeah, so we need more awareness, and we need more people like you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
So
do
I
you
think,
have any final thoughts, anything that you would like to leave with us and our audience today?
I guess I would just say, I think it's amazing what you guys are doing and being really really genuine in your emotional experience, and there's no shame in showing your emotions. There's no shame in being genuine in your experience, whether it's struggling, whether it's having a good day. And I would say really seek out those who you feel supported by, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a religious person, whether it's a family friend. But I would just say kind of be genuine to yourself and be kind to yourself is one of the big things that I always share with people, is to not be so critical, is my big message, I would say, and just try and be kind to yourself.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, we definitely thank you for sharing that knowledge, and so people can find you with your email right here, correct? If they have any further questions or need to reach out to you.
Yes, for sure. I check my email like 50 times a day. So I'm probably the best way to reach me, for sure. And any questions, any comments, always feel free to reach out.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for having with me. I really appreciate getting the chance to go on my soapbox for a bit and speak about important issues, affecting the community.
We appreciate you for joining us and giving us all this lovely insight. And my mind is like racing with different thoughts and ideas on we got to do better. How can we get more professionals for the individuals who need them? So I appreciate you for the inspiration tonight.
Of course,
Yeah.
anytime.
And shout out to Dr. Uche.
Yes, phenomenal woman who's taught me so much.
Right.
Dr. Chikwute has like been a phenomenal mentor to me and really pushed me in my career and my path and reminding me what it means to be a Black female in this field as well. You know, and so always a big hoopla for her.
Yeah, hopefully we get both y'all on the next time we do another show on mental health awareness. And then if y'all have like you said, people have questions, they have your email address, and then also just hit us up in the comment section or message us, and we'll get the message to you.
Perfect.
Yep.
Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, guys, that was another great show because I'm telling you guys, our mental health is it's deep, especially in our community. We really need it. So that hopefully our listeners and everybody, if they have any questions, as Pat was saying, they can reach us at lambitiousPodcast@gmail.com if they have any questions, so we can definitely get that addressed in our community.
For sure.
Yeah. Only thing I wanted to end off with on my part was like she said, just make sure you take care of yourself. Your health is your wealth, and if you can't take care of yourself, you're not gonna be able to take care of other people. So it starts with you. And during this pandemic, these times are hard, but I got something keeping me happy is the Rockets.
Turn up Rockets. They winning?
Rockets won 2 in a row. I'm ready to watch the game tonight too.
Oh, go Rock. I haven't watched sports in a long time because my favorite player's been hurt for a long time. So I'm out the loop. I'm sorry.
Must be Kevin Durant.
Yes, my boy's got them bad feet and ankles. There's long people problems. So I'll be back watching when he get back.
Definitely. Well, for everybody, again, if y'all need to definitely email us at lambitiousPodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us, share, repost on Facebook. We're live right now, Lambitious Podcast, on Instagram, Lambitious, on Twitter, Lambitious PC, and then we're also on Twitch TV at Lambitious. So any final thoughts, you guys, for the week that any nuggets we can get for the week?
Well, all I have to say is self-love is the best love, and just take care of you at all times, because at the end of the day, nobody has your back like you have your back. So just be good to you and things will probably prosper,
Absolutely. I love that. My final message is just basically the same: self-love, and check on your people and talk to people. Like, this during the pandemic, I think we all realized that, life is valuable, it's short. Holding grudges and all that, just let it go. And, hey, pick up the phone, tell somebody you love them and you check on them, and just that's all you could do.
Straight like that.
Really important.
Yep.
Straight like that. Well, until next time, it's nice talking to y'all. It's a great show, as always.
You too. Same bad channel, same bad place next Tuesday, guys. You guys be safe. Be careful.
See you there.
All right.